Welcome to Kickstarter. It's like Willy Wonka for millennials with a fetish for Marie Kondo minimalist design. A place where dreams come true 5 years later. And you forgot you bought that weird minimalist slap chop and then it shows up in your mail and you're like, what is this garbage? I don't even cook. But it's there anyway, so now you're stuck with it. It's like I totally forgot that I bought the flying chicken pelvic floor muscle trainer. Guys, it's not what you think it is. It's Kegel exercises for men so they can enjoy the health benefits of correct posture while they drive. It's like a shake weight for your cheeks. Anyway, I'm not here today to talk about Kegels. I'm actually here today to talk about the boiling dumpster fire that is of Yandere dev level proportions. That is Dreamworld. I wrote this on like the 22nd of May, and now it's old news because literally Critical and like every other person has covered it. But I've been watching it since the beginning because I find it absolutely fascinating. But you know, I had to have a breakdown and cover a guy who was freebasing his way into the hospital. But you know what? Whatever. That happened and now we're here. Now, I'm being a little hyperbolic when I say it's comparable to Yandere dev, but there are children running Discord servers and chronic lying and feature creep, and it has all the hallmark issues surrounding the Yandere simulator game, except instead of some filthy weeaboo, it's some grimy millennials who live in New York apartments. But you know what would keep these boys from being grimy? Today's sponsor, Harry's. Harry's is a personal care brand that delivers a close, comfortable shave at a fair price as low as $2 a blade refill. We here at FBS Diesel appreciate a good, clean shave. You gotta maintain this luxurious Puerto Rican beard. And we're able to do that with sharp, German-engineered blades from Harry's. 100% quality, guaranteed or your money back. It comes directly to your door, which is a big plus in this day and age if you catch my drift. Even better, with Harry's, you actually have the choice to go with or without a subscription. Harry's support great causes as they give 1% of their global sales to nonprofit organizations that provide mental health care for those in need, like men, veterans, and LGBTQ youths. They actually have a whole list of the non-for-profits that they help out over on their website. And you can head over to Harry's by using the link in the description and pinned comment down below. It's really just a great deal that we've worked out for you guys here. $3 will get you a trial set which includes a blade cartridge, weighted handle, blade cover, and shave gel when you use my link, harrys.com/FPS. So click the link, harrys.com/FPS. Check it out, and thanks again to Harry's for sponsoring this video and allowing a bit more creative flexibility for creators like me to make cool content. But speaking of this game, Dreamworld, what does it look like? What is Dreamworld? Let's look at it. You might be looking at that and going, boy, that is one ugly game. The conflicting art styles, all of this looks horrible. And why is that? Because this game has been sold as the everything game. It's basically Earth 2, which is another scam MMO that we are not going to cover in depth today, but I am mentioning here because I know what it is. Let me phrase it like this. These guys are straight up lying. They're not telling the truth. This game's not real. Okay, so let me try and explain to you why the concept of Dreamworld is so horrendous, right? So Dreamworld is the everything game, and by this I mean that, you know, imagine you're playing Call of Duty and you don't leave your game of Call of Duty, you just leave the area where Call of Duty is being played, and then you go watch the next greatest hit American movie over in the movie theater inside Dreamworld. It is the everything game. Anything you can do is in the game. That's the premise behind it. You know, it's kind of like this weird little magic electricity box that already does that with ruthless efficiency and has sucked up every single portion and day of our lives. I don't know what that thing is called, but I don't know if you need a game that is played on one of those electricity boxes that does the same thing. Literally, they are selling Dreamworld as this, right? The vision is that Dreamworld is the everything game. Every genre, every style, every game type there has ever been and will be. all in one world, built by each player on the back of the accessible and powerful modular user interfaces. Think ZBrush, Photoshop, and SketchUp, built in-game and easier. You know, guys, outside of YouTube, I edit like for money from businesses, and there's a reason that there is a skill curve. An increase in complexity is going to reduce usability, okay? A lot of people have trouble learning a thing like Blender, for example, because Blender is very complicated. And you, the Blender master, might be like, Blender makes complete sense. But how many years have you've been using it? And then also build it into a game where you can play Pac-Man, copyright-free Pac-Man. I know I have artists in the audience. Please, artists in the audience, could you tell me if your program of use could fit inside an MMO? And would you want to play your program in a game like that? Would you want that? But let's talk about these weird little fellas right here. Let's talk about these little boys right here. We talk about this guy named Zachary Kaplan, who's become the de facto man in charge, or dingus in charge. He's a smelly man. I'd like to think he smells quite smelly, because he smells pretty fishy to me. And I'm gonna call him as I sees him here and say that this guy gives me big trust fund baby vibes. In fact, this entire story does. Now, I'm not going to cover the entire history of Dreamworld. There's other videos for that, right? Right now, I'd say if you're completely unfamiliar, there's Josh Strife Ace. There's plenty of guys out there that have been covering it and absolutely befuddled at the buffoonery of these boys. But let's look at some of the more comedic aspects of this, right? And Zach's wisdom. So first off, look at this guy. That's the main character of Dreamworld. You might have seen him before if you've bumped into game development ever. And the reason is because he's the default model that's included in Unreal Engine. The game also has a designer who graduated from the back of the Cereal Box School of Design. And this guy has crafted what I can only describe as the 3D equivalent of Comic Sans. Like, I understand the love for embossed Arial bold font with gold reflective, textures on it. I get it. I understand. Who doesn't love gold reflective textures? But, how do I describe this? That's how I don't even have the words to describe how hideous that is. Think about it, guys. If you spent real American dollars on this, because that's the only money that exists in the universe, if you spent your money on this, you could get your name on this hideous gold and blue wall. Your name there forever, or until they leave you holding the bag with a game that'll never get finished. And I understand that my audience isn't particularly familiar with game development, so I gotta go over some basic concepts here. But a lot of what Dreamworld is made up of is a thing called an asset pack, right? So think you're drawing a picture, and to fill out some of the more minute details of the picture, you buy an asset pack that has like barrels and crates and maybe a building and some other stuff in it. That's what an asset pack is. That's what you're supposed to use it for, right? To kind of ease how much you're building, right? And make it a little easier to craft a game, right? But an asset pack is not supposed to be a full game. However, there are people on this planet who've gotten really good at copying and pasting other people's work. Really, all they do is spend money, or sometimes don't even spend the money, and then they just try and sell you that game that is just the asset packs that somebody else worked really hard on. Dreamworld is made up primarily of asset packs. Genuinely, most of Dreamworld is just dragged and dropped item, like literally, from a library. It's the equivalent of playing with action figures. So if you wondered why everything I showed you so far looks hideous, it's because it's all not supposed to go together, okay? It's all from different things and different creators and different people with skills. Now, Zach is very interesting because he is a weird fellow with lots of strange credentials. He's got very vacant eyes. I don't know if you've noticed, but he tried to sell this thing. Yeah, that's a chest speaker. Because I don't know if you guys thought public transit was awful enough. he thought, hey, why not just make everybody experience how you have a great taste in music? If you thought the guy with the speakers on the subway was annoying, this guy, you know what? I understand why the New York subway transit system does not have protective railings. It's to push guys like this into the tracks. Zach's story is also not what it seems in the Kickstarter video, of which you can watch fully online. But at one point he mentions how, you know, kind of Dreamworld is this labor of love, and he's given up everything, and his woman's left him, his fiance left him because he was working so hard on this game, all this, you know, just making of a new Jeff Bezos style story here, okay? He's trying to build himself up as this scrappy underdog down on his luck, but he really radiates the energy of unprofessional professional golfer, okay? Turns out that his ex, his fiance, actually is the one who dodged a bullet here. Because boy, are there some certified bruh moments. Needless to say, all this scrappy underdog stuff, kind of a lie. On a side note here, if you're a budding artist and you're like, why? Just why? Because I know I've been asking myself that in pain. If you ever think, why haven't I made it yet? Just know that these guys have absolutely zero talent, zero skill, and they're horrendous at their job. And they've made it. So if anything, maybe this just tells me, and maybe it tells you, that we need to try less. That we could achieve just as much by not putting in that much work. I mean, look at these guys. They didn't make anything. They just stole. I wouldn't even be surprised if the code isn't theirs. Okay, I've seen a lot of those like Unreal Minecraft clones before, way before Dreamworld. Would not be surprised if they took the code. Apparently they are great coders, according to the fiance. She had said that there's some talent there, but gotta tell you, I've seen some of these things play out before. Wouldn't be surprised if the code is somebody else's. You could check the trailer right now because they haven't turned off the comments, and people are literally saying how it's nothing but stock assets. This is on the Dreamworld official YouTube channel. Okay, they literally are comparing it to Minecraft app clones, which is a problem for Dreamworld. Now, I'm really briefly covering this today, right? But these guys aren't the first of their kind. They're really not. This is actually a long-standing issue with game development, especially indie game development, where people like this do this. When I worked in game dev, there was a thing where they'd play students, because the way my game dev school worked is you worked on real projects. And there are projects now that are either out in the wild or, you know, I had a passing glance with, right? That happened, right? These were real games we really made. There's a place where they'd send the bad students, right? The people who weren't good at what they do. They'd be sent to the MMO. Yes, they were putting together a bunch of students to work on an MMO. Because that's great, right? But even better, this MMO was based on the professor's intellectual property from his book series, which means that this MMO was basically Navel Gaze, the video game. Needless to say, this is not a great idea for a student project, and there's a reason that my old college is now gone. They say it was COVID, but I can say maybe it was embezzlement, and nobody can stop me because they literally don't exist anymore. Anyway, Dreamworld really does come off as one of those kind of stories where it happened one moment, it was gone the next. It's one of those concepts that I think Mandalore pointed out called Cursed Runes. There's another game that reminds me a lot of Dreamworld called Starforge, which you can't play anymore, but Mandalore has an old video on if you're curious. But the Cursed Runes are crafting, survival, early access, and open world, which, as the knight himself explained, spell out the word curse. I'd like to submit Dreamworld as Cursed Runes, because it fits all of the criteria and definitely reminds me of Starforge. You know, I think we should take Cursed Runes and make it just like a TV trope criticism of games, because there are so many cursed runes out there, it is ridiculous. Please, in the comments, tell me your cursed runes. I'd love to know. Yeah, another issue that you're going to notice with Dreamworld is that the goal for the Kickstarter was very low, and the reasoning for this is that, oh, well, you know, we have outside investors, we're just doing the Kickstarter to kind of gauge what people are feeling, you know, are they interested in it kind of deal. And you know, even if they had outside investors, we're talking like they'd need hundreds of millions of dollars of capital to get a Kickstarter like this to be feasible, or to get an MMO off the ground. Literally, Elder Scrolls Online, for example, $500 million. Okay, ballpark. It's somewhere between 200 million and 500 million, right around there. Generally about the same for all MMOs. Destiny isn't even counted as an MMO. I'd say it might be. Most expensive game of all time. Circling back to these guys' personalities, we don't know a lot yet, but I have a feeling we're gonna learn their true colors very soon, because this drama is just going in such a strange way, right? So Zach, right, Mr. Vacant Eyes, right? Zach over here, you know, he's got those eyes that spell disaster for any self-respecting business tycoon. He bought a fake ring for his now ex-fiance, right? And it's very sad, and I don't want to like tell her story for her, but it's rough to hear about. You know, I will say, you know, you don't need to be flashy for your significant other. I understand why people would be annoyed about a fake ring, and her issue is that he lied, right? And it was a pretty bad lie. I'll just play a clip, because boy, woo.
Flash forward to August 2020. COVID was a time of a lot of forced reflection for me, as for a lot of people. I think most people felt that way. And so I had a lot of time to sit and think and realize that a lot of these things that were kind of bothering me weren't just kind of bothering me about our relationship. So come August, we began to discuss a laundry list of issues within our relationship. At that point, I was prepared and kind of already intended to call off the engagement. Well, at the end of that conversation, he told me that he needed to admit something to me, and he told me that he had actually been lying to me about the ring the entire time, and that he knew it was fake when he bought it. So the whole story about the woman being fired, the pancake, like that entire convoluted thing, all of that was a lie, and he had persisted these lies for 10 months.
I don't want to like downplay how stressful this probably was, because it must have been extremely stressful for her. But I'm sorry, this is just the most millennial breakup like story I've ever heard. I know, like, again, I don't want to make it look like I'm mocking her, right? But she is proper bent, okay? And she's allowed to be. She has every right to be. This guy did some dickish stuff, and I assume the stuff we don't know and that she doesn't share is personal, but is just as equally as frustrating as the fake ring, okay? But what I mean by this thing is just very millennial, is that, you know, you got young upstarts in the big city, an emotionally stunted man, Kickstarter. I mean, she's a girl boss. Like, she is clearly a girl boss. And I guess in this case, I mean it as a compliment. Oh yeah, she has some weird internet career that escapes my understanding as somebody who even works in the field. And, you know, has been on both sides of that. So you got all of the millennial hallmarks of a horrifying, just wonderfully awful breakup. I will say, though, that she is lucky that she didn't get bound to him for life, because I don't know who wants to be married to the man who invented chest-based assault aggravation devices.
Because honestly, I think the most important is I can guarantee that these boys are not trying to scam anyone. They truly believe that they are going to deliver on everything that they have promised. This is not two guys who purposefully came up with a project that they knew they weren't going to be able to do just so that they could get a quick payday from Kickstarter and then disappear with the money. That is absolutely not what is happening here. They really, truly believe that they can make this happen. However, whether they can deliver on it or not, like, again, I can't speak to that, and I'm not going to, because I don't have that, you know, gaming development technical background or knowledge. Like, there are plenty of other people who do have that, who have dove into this. You can go and watch their videos if you want and take from that what you will. I'm not going to tell you to support them or not to support them. That is not my position. I am a neutral third party who somehow got involved here.
Yeah, I don't know about the not a scammer thing. I've seen this more than once before. I would not put it past him that maybe his content of character is much worse. But hey, you were gonna marry him, so I'm not even gonna, you know, whatever. You know, it just ticks all the boxes. They got the culty Discord server. They shut down all critique on there, by the way. They never respond to appropriate feedback. Seem completely unhinged, and have released an alpha of a game that exemplifies all of the issues with feature creep. And they are claimed to be professionals with experience in the field, yet have none. And I'm just playing a clip of Yandere Simulator right now, aren't I? Now I see the parallels. Now I see it all comes back together. You know, it's all about, really, Dreamworld's a story about family, like Star Wars. Anyway, listen, Zach, I'm waiting for your public meltdown so I can make another video on it. So if you could just speed that up a bit, you know, I think you should go for maybe like a Phil Fish style. Maybe you could like mix it up a bit and do the troll thing that Yandere Sim did, you know, and talk about how everybody's a troll. Pick and choose really what you like there from both of those, and kind of like mix them together, and maybe throw a little bit of like Sean Murray, circa No Man's Sky release. Just go on a talk show and say a bunch of stuff that makes no sense. Okay, do all that stuff, and then, you know, entertain me. So, shout out to Harry's for sponsoring this video. Boom, here's the code again if you haven't and you got to the end of the video. And also, make sure to follow me on the social media, and you can check out me on social media here. Boom, at FPS Diesel. Alright guys, get out of here.